Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Daily Lent Reflection. Today is Thursday, March 22nd, and it's Thursday in the fifth week of Lent. And our two scripture readings that we're reflecting on today are Genesis 17, verses 3 to 9, and John 8, verses 51 to 59. And our opening quote comes from Genesis 17, verses 7 and verses 9. Quote, I will maintain my covenant with you and your descendants after you throughout the ages as an everlasting pact, to be your God and the God of your descendants. On your part, you and your descendants after you must keep my covenant throughout the ages. End quote. And our reflection for today is contract of love. The covenant or contract between God and his people describes a very special relationship. Covenant is one of the key themes of both the Old and New Testament. In the covenant, God formed a special agreement with his people, Israel. He promised to be their faithful God and to deliver them from evil. The people, in their turn, promised to be faithful to God, to worship him alone, and to keep his commandments. One of the dominant themes of the Old Testament is that while God is always faithful to his part of the covenant, the Israelites are unfortunately not always faithful to theirs. The Hebrew word ased describes the God of the covenant and includes such characteristics as loving kindness, mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. It is sometimes translated as covenant affection and loyalty. It comes close to what contemporary theologians refer to as unconditional love. God's dealings with Israel are always and everywhere marked with the sign of Hesed, covenant love. The new covenant does not annul the old one, but in Jesus brings it to fulfillment. And you can read about that in Galatians 3, verses 15 to 29. The partners of the new covenant are God the Father, Jesus, his beloved Son, and each Christian in and with Jesus. Jesus, the divine Son, now expresses covenant love for his people. He loves them unconditionally, instructs them, forgives them, and lays down his life for them. In so doing, he seals the new covenant in his blood. Quote, this cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me, end quote. And that's from 1 Corinthians 11, verse 25. Nor does the new covenant do away with the old law, but rather brings it to perfection in the law of love. When a lawyer, in an attempt to trip him up, asked which commandment of the law was the greatest, Jesus replied, quote, you shall love the Lord your God with your whole heart, with your whole soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. The second is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments the whole law is based, and the prophet as well. End quote. And that's from Matthew 22, verses 37 to 40. Lent is a time for us to appreciate anew God's covenant love for us, manifested so beautifully in the saving death and resurrection of Jesus. It is likewise a time for us to renew our fidelity in keeping our part of the new covenant. It is a time for worship of the true God, especially in the mystery of the Eucharist, and a time for loving one another as Christ has loved us. And our closing prayer today comes from Psalm 105, verses 1, 5, and 6. Quote, give thanks to the Lord, invoke his name, make known among the nations his deeds. Recall the wondrous deeds that he has wrought, his portents, and the judgments he has uttered. You descendants of Abraham, his servants. End quote. And our practice for today is this: during the remainder of Lent, I will make a special effort to attend Mass daily. So that's it for today. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you can really make an effort to try and get to Mass every day. It's very healing to receive the Eucharist every day. So do your best. All right, that's it. Have a good day. God bless. See you tomorrow.